In the last video, we covered the renaming convention of Jira projects to spaces within Jira software. In this video, we're going to cover the new Jira Projects app, how you can access it, we're going to explore it a little bit, and what the line of thought behind the Jira Projects app is. And so first, we're going to go over how to access the Jira Projects app. So I'm currently in this right now. The way that you access Jira Projects is you can click on this icon here in the top left-hand corner. It kind of has four boxes within a square format. What you're going to do then is you're going to select Home. This will take you to your home page. Once in your Atlassian homepage, you'll see on the left sidebar, let me go ahead and minimize my camera so that we can go ahead and see everything here. On the left sidebar, you should see something that calls Projects. And if you don't see Projects, then go ahead and select the More. Then go ahead and select the More drop down here, and you should see Projects. Projects is a new app that is available to all Jira and Confluence users by default. So let's go over and read some Atlassian documentation on understanding how Jira works with goals and projects in the Atlassian home. It says Atlassian projects are a separate concept from a Jira software space, which is a collection of work items, stories, bugs, tasks, etc., that represent the development work for an app, a project, or a service. Atlassian Projects provides a place to give regular weekly updates on work and can be connected to Jira Epics as a single source of updates and information for that work. It says that they are working on ways to improve clarity between Atlassian projects and Jira software spaces. So really what Atlassian is doing with projects is they see a need to be able to integrate all of the work that they are doing within Jira, that teams are doing within Jira spaces, to have a centralized hub where you can communicate and send updates. So instead of prepping, project status update reports and then sending those out through Confluence, they're trying to give you a centralized hub where you can and other users can go and find updates pertaining to a project that is connected to a space and potentially a goal. So right now, I think the apps are a bit cumbersome and create a lot of additional manual work, but I can see their line of thought in how this could evolve in the future. Hopefully in the future, they are able to integrate it with Confluence a little bit further, and I'll kind of show you what I mean once I walk through an example of a project that I've created using their new Projects app. So here, if we click into this project that I've created, this project is for a video series, of course, on spaces, goals, and projects within Jira. So let's go ahead and click into this. Just real quick before we click in, this is the project's homepage. Really, you can see the status. So if a project is on track, you can just quickly see that at a glance. You can see if there's a target date associated with this project. You can see who the owner is, whether or not you're following, and when it was last updated. So if we do click into this project, really it'll default you to the updates page, but if you go to the about page, this just gives everyone a little bit of a better idea on what the purpose of this project is. And so I view it more as like an executive summary for maybe outside parties to go and get a refresher, or maybe new team members to get an understanding of what's going on with the project. So really they ask, what are we doing? So in this example, the project is for a video series on spaces, goals, and projects. So what are we doing? In this example, we are going to release a video series on Jira projects being renamed to Jira Spaces, the Goals app, and the Projects app in Jira and Confluence. Why are we doing it? There seems to be a lot of confusion around goals, spaces, and projects in the Atlassian community. This video series is to explore the intended purpose and vision of these new apps and naming conventions, and ultimately help customers use the tools that they pay for to meet their specific business needs. And how will we know if we're successful? If there are a lot of views or comments or likes for the video series on our 3S Success YouTube channel or our 3S Success Atlassian knowledge base, that's how we'll know if this video series is helpful and if this project is successful. So this is one example of how you can really just get a high-level overview for a project. Previously, in my experience, organizations have used Confluence to really detail what a project is used for. So it'll be interesting to see whether and how people adopt this, like I said, it would be really nice if in this About section you could link an already existing Confluence space, because I have a feeling that a lot of customers are already using Confluence to accomplish essentially what they are outlining here. So if you could just link a Confluence space to this and make sure that everyone has access, I think that personally would be ideal. Next, you have the Updates tab here when it comes to your projects. This is where you will see any latest updates. So here you can post an update on a project. So for example, if I come here, no target date is set. If I wanted to set a target date to have all of these videos released by January 2nd, I can go ahead and do that. I have new risks that I've created for this. You can see a risks tab and a decision tab here on the Projects app, and we'll go over that in just a minute. This is where you can post your updates. Anyone that is following this project will get a notification anytime there is an update made to this project page. So if you did want to say, oh, well, we're not on track, you can go ahead and send that update. So I'm going to post this update. Oh, it says it wants me to write a short summary of my update. Target date has been established and risks have been documented. So we're going to post that update on this Jira project. And here you can see, and anyone else that is following this will see, this week, this is my update. So instead of having to email or send a link to those Confluence weekly updates, this is a way that Atlassian is trying to give you the ability to communicate updates regarding a project here that others just get automatically in all of their tools. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this evolves over time. I would like to see it integrate with Confluence a lot more in the future, especially since teams are currently using Confluence to document and communicate a lot of these updates. It would be nice if you could just link that Confluence page directly here to these updates to be leveraged. You can also have learning. So if there are lessons learned throughout the project, you can go ahead and document that here. Like I mentioned, a lot of companies currently use Confluence for this. So if you could, or if Atlassian could figure out a way to integrate some already existing documentation that companies use for Confluence and lessons learned, I think that would be ideal. Nonetheless, it is here, and I do see their line of thought of being able to just post an update and then have it send to all of the different followers and users. Next, we have a tab for risks. This is where you can document risks for this particular project, and you can see that I have one risk that has been documented here. So you can see them all here, and you can actually click into them. So let's click into this risk, and I'll show you what this looks like. All right, so this risk says unintended use or lack thereof of projects and goals. So because the goals tab on the board view remains available and times out after, and now let me pause here. I have another video that we'll be releasing regarding disabling goals and projects apps for Jira and Confluence users. By default, Jira and Confluence users are granted access to both goals and projects, but not all organizations want to use goals and projects, and it just creates confusion and clutter for them. So I've actually found a way to go through and disable both the goals and projects app, which we'll cover on how to do that in another video. But there is a risk with this because I don't think Atlassian intended for users to be able to disable goals and project apps, and this is the risk that's associated with that. So because the Goals tab on a Kanban board or a sprint board view remains available and times out after disabling the Goals and Projects app, so that is the one caveat, is you will still see that Goals tab on the board view for goals. We're not sure if the ability to disable Goals and Projects apps was an intended capability or a known capability to the Atlassian team. So down the road, Atlassian may restrict the ability to disable Goals and Projects apps altogether, but for now, the ability to disable the apps does exist, and we'll share that information since it has been a frequent question and request from Atlassian customers. And so here is a great way that you can document risks. I will say risks and risk logs are also typically up to this point have been documented in Confluence. So if they could figure out a way to be able to link Confluence pages that are already existing for these risks and have them in this more dynamic view. I think that would be ideal if that's how they are trending with projects. And the last tab that they have here is regarding decisions. So decision logs are also something that's very, very important. And so here you can see that there is already a decision that's been created. So we'll go over this example. So one decision that was created for this project on the video series for spaces, goals, and projects in Jira is to include a video on the renaming of projects to spaces in Jira. So we've decided to include a video explaining the thought and the reasoning behind Atlassian's decision to rename projects in Jira to spaces, as the topic relates to the release of Jira Projects App and how customers use Jira software today. So that is one decision that was made pertaining to this project that is within the Projects app in Jira. So this is just the basic navigation of their projects app. Here on the right-hand side, you'll see a few things. You'll see the status here. It's still showing as pending. You'll see following. So I am following this project. You can see the share button here, or you can copy the link to the project. Here you can see who the owner is. You can see who the contributors are. So if you want to add more contributors to your project and give others the ability to make these updates, this is where you can do that within the projects app. Followers is where you can add followers. Contributes to goals. So if you are also using the goals app, this is where you can link the goal here. And I do have a goal linked, and we will review goals in the next video on how they interact with projects. But here you can see that I have this linked here. This goal is to help Atlassian customers understand goals and projects and how to disable them for their business needs. All right. The other thing that you can do here is where is the work tracked. So you can actually tag also related projects. So if we have a second project that this relates to and ties into, you can link that project here. Again, when I say project, it is referring to the projects app that now exists within Jira. Where is the work tracked? This is where you can link where the work is tracked. So you can link an epic here. It only allows you to link one epic and one issue here. I really wish it would allow you to link more. They do have this other link section where I've gone through and linked the specific tasks or work items that pertain to creating this video series, because this epic Create Videos for YouTube channel is an umbrella that encompasses more than just this video series. It would be nice if I was able to link these work items in the where is the work tracked portion as opposed to the links portion. But nonetheless, it did give me the option to add these work items in the links section. Next, you can have tags. So if you do want to be able to filter on tags for projects, this is a way that you're able to do that. And then of course, it allows you to enter the start date here as well. Here at the top where the status is, it's currently in pending. You can update this to on track, at risk, or off track, or completed. I'm going to move this to on track. When I do move this to on track, it does ask me to post an update, and I'm going to say project is on track. But if your project was at risk and off track, this is where you can say project timeline or deadline is at risk, and here's why. And you can post that update, and anyone who is a follower will get that notification for this particular project, or if they just come to the project's homepage in general, they will be able to see the status of the projects just at this glance in this view. And so I see Atlassian's line of thought behind projects and having one central hub to keep track of the overall project status. It's kind of like program management and program planning for an entire organization, just seeing it in a snapshot view. It's also a great way to be able to send those updates regarding these projects. However, I do think there's a lot of area improvement for integrating a little bit better with Confluence, since a lot of organizations are already using Confluence for things like status updates for projects, for risk logs, and for decision logs. So if that could be more of a seamless integration and allow you to actually link your Confluence page and then have that Confluence page pop up here as a view, similarly to how they allow Gantt charts to be viewed in Confluence, I think that would be ideal. All right, so this is the new Projects app. Within Jira, like I said, by default, Jira and Confluence users are granted access to both projects and goals. And in a later video, we'll go over how you can disable that as an admin.